Okay, so welcome to All the Way podcast, episode 5. And in this episode, we are going to be rounding off being self-aware. So this one is called Self-Aware Part 2. The one thing I want you to get from this is still a continuation from the first one, is being self-aware is a powerful thing and it's one of the best things that you can do. Take the time to get to know you. In the first episode, we looked at so many different things. We looked at how when you take the time to get to know you, it's a very liberating experience because you just are your best self when you are you to the fullest. In this day and age, we try and create an image for ourselves. And sometimes it works. And in the first episode, we talked about how sometimes that can actually work for you. But deep down in you, there's almost like this feeling that, there's more to me than this, or I can do better, or I feel like I need to live out my truest self. And when you do that, and when you have the bravery to actually make that step, to be able to live out your core self, your true self, it's a very liberating experience, and it's probably the best you'll ever make. And your life actually gets better when you live out the fullest of you. And the reason why I wanted to do this second part is because some of the things that you can look for while you're on this journey to finding out who your true self is, and some of the things you'll be able to understand. And the very first thing, I'm just going to go straight in, is that the right people will start to come around you when you start to understand who you really are. The right people will start to come around you when you start to understand who you are. And the beautiful part is the wrong people will start to leave as well when you actually become who you're meant to be. And it's not an easy process, because some people you want in your life who aren't meant for you, and some people who you don't want in your life somehow manage to stick around. But you have a choice, and it's up to you. You have to be your most authentic self. And what I want to talk about in this episode is almost like the process and the results of being your full self. So we'll start with the process. Listening to others. One of the best ways that you can be self-aware is getting the balance right between listening to yourself and listening to others. It's people who you trust. So how do you get to know who you listen to? It starts with people that you trust. And one of the self-awareness techniques or tools that you can use, if you go away and Google it, you'll be able to find one on the internet. It's called the Johari window, which is a fantastic tool to help you understand you and the people closest to you as well. And the way that it works is you get a list of about 100 words, maybe 50 to 100 words. And you are asked to circle 6 words that best represent you. You keep that list and don't show it to anybody else of the words that you circled and highlighted as, yes, these 6 words are representative of me. And then you give that same list of 50 to 100 words, they have to be the exact same words, and you give it to 6 people. 6 people closest to you. People who you work with, people who you live with. You could do it with a roommate. You could do it with your spouse. You could do it with your partner. You could do it with your manager. You could do it with people who you are in your team. Just basically anybody who's around you day to day a lot of the time. And what happens is they pick their 6 words to describe you. And what happens is at the end of it, you almost split into 4 categories. You get the words that you both agree on. You get words that you said but they didn't. And then you get words that they said that you didn't. And then you get words that are almost like you that are inexistent. You know, the rest of the words basically. And the reason why this test is such a fantastic tool to use is because it reveals what we call a blind spot. And our blind spot is the words that the people around you say that you are, that you don't necessarily say that you are. So the words of the 6 words that you've picked don't match some of the words that the people around you have said, and that is what you call a blind spot. And the beautiful part about a blind spot is it's like a 360 view. You can only see with your 2 eyes a certain level of degrees of how far you can see, but 360 degrees, people can see the fullness of you, because they're around you the most. Now, if you want to take it up to the next level, give that same list of 50 people, 50 words, 50 to 100 words, to 6 people who kind of know you. So these could be people like the receptionist that you walk past every day but don't particularly stop and have deep conversations with, just general chit chat. Could be people that work in a different team to you. This could be people that you don't see often, like maybe your cousins or distant relatives, people you don't see that often, and they can give you an opinion of their 6 words, and that they could be completely different. And that's what I did. So I picked 12 people and I got 2 different lists, which is really, really good. So all the purpose of of the Johari window is that it reveals your blind spots. You can see how you believe that you are. People can pick up on that as well, because that you will find some similarities in the words that you have, but there will also be some words that creep up that are words that people describe you as, but you don't describe yourself as, and they're what's called your blind spot. And it's just a great way of being able to understand, this is the perception I'm giving off. And once you're aware of that, you can adjust it, or you can say, do you know what, I like it, and I don't want to change that. So that's a really good tool for being self-aware. And you can't be the best you without self-awareness. So you need to take the time to get to know yourself. And the Johari window is a fantastic tool in order to be able to do that. Once you get to know you and who you are and what you're about, study the greats who are in your field that match who you are. So, for example, I went away and decided, look, this is who I am. I am a trainer. And I went away and started studying the people who are really good at training, who are close to me. And one of them is a guy called Jason Bradbury, who's one of my, people who I worked with. And he was showing me the ropes, and he almost became like took me under his wing kind of thing and showed me how to deliver and what it means to really, hold the room, and showing up early before the training's due to start, and how you set up the room, and if you've got a big group, how you manage that, just all the different techniques that you can use to be a good trainer. And I loved the way that he did his sessions, and even as an observer, I would find myself getting involved in the activities and the learning points, which is really, really good, because that's the mark of a really good trainer. If I can, I'm not meant to be there to actually be a participant. I'm meant to be there to just to watch him, how he does things. And I found myself getting involved, which is a really good thing. And one thing that really stood out for me is Jason's really good at making anybody, even if you're a complete stranger, anybody feel relaxed immediately. His way of doing that is through humour, and he'll just crack a joke, or it's very light-hearted, and it's coming from a good place. And his way of being able to connect with people is through humour. So throughout the whole day, he'll be cracking jokes, he'll be having a bit of banter with different people from different sites, sometimes giving people stick, but it's all good. It's coming, as I say, it's coming from a loving place. But when he did that, in my mind, I was watching him, bearing in mind I'm observing, I'm trying to find my style. And the first thing I tried to do was I tried to do jokes like him. So when it was my turn to try and run my own training sessions, I remember I cracked a joke for the first time. It went down like a lead balloon, and I felt awkward for the rest of the day delivering a training. And in myself, I made a decision to go away and reflect on that, and why didn't that day work, and why did you feel some type of way when you were delivering the training. And it was because I was trying to be and deliver in a way that wasn't my natural style. I tried to deliver Jason's way, which was through humour and having a crack and all this kind of stuff, but still getting the work done. Whereas that's not my style. And over time, I didn't realise this in the beginning, but over time I'd gone away and found out that my style is more information and inspiration. Information and inspiration. And I use that throughout my stories. So, for example, I will use quotes from other people, people who I look up to. I will use information that I have to try and inspire stories. I'll give people interview clips, and I'll play videos in the middle of my training sessions just to amplify the point and the exercises that I'm trying to do. And I'll really try and make sure the exercises that we go through really hit home in a personal way. That's my way of being able to make sure that my trainings come out the best for my work. And that works for me. That really does make me feel fulfilled. I feel energized by the end of training sessions, and people can connect with it. Like, I'll put up inspirational quotes and stuff like that. And I'll never forget one of my training sessions. I was talking to supervisors, and I was telling them the importance of not letting chaos get inside them. And the way that I did that was showed them a quote of a boat, and they said that a boat doesn't sink because of the water around it. The boat only sinks because they let the water get inside the boat, and then it goes down. And it was just basically saying that, look, you can be around a lot of chaos and you can be fine, but once you let the chaos get in you, you go down, and the rest of the team is affected badly. So I tried to deliver that, and that's when I showed them that quote. And then it was a 2-day course, and they came back on the second day when I showed them the quote on the first day and said, Simeon, I've seen that quote on Facebook last night while I was scrolling through social media, and it just really hit home what you said. And that's, to me, was like confirmation that, yes, this is the way that I'm going to be able to deliver training and get through to people. And then he said, hopefully, that really, to me, that really stuck out in my mind, the fact that he's actually engaged in the message that I was trying to convey. So my way of being able to deliver training is inspiration and information rather than cracking jokes, which works for me. And some people love Jason's jokes, and some people love my more information and inspiration. But I can't live off trying to do things another person's way. I have to be able to be comfortable with doing things my way and what works for me. And I don't get me wrong, I try and do my best to incorporate different styles to elevate my game, but just while I'm trying to find my feet, I had to find my style first. And once I'm centered in that, then I can really branch out and start doing more. So one of the ways that I really wanted to talk about was how I started to become more self-aware. And I'll just give you a couple of things that I think that might be really good and useful to you. Whether you take them or not is up to you, but I know that it worked for me, so I just wanted to share them. One of them was giving up listening to music in my car. And I did this, I actually still do this to this day. I don't actually listen to music in my car unless I'm driving along with somebody. If I'm on my own, I drive in silence. And the reason why I do that is because I like to reflect on the day before, or I like to reflect on what's gone on in the day, or what I've listened to as an audio and stuff like that. Because I really feel like that's a good time to really just collect your thoughts, and you'll have some of the most amazing epiphanies or aha moments, sometimes people call it, when you're just driving in your car doing something menial. And when you're in silence, it really can be a powerful tool. And when you do that, you start to get ideas, and you start to get insights, and just almost like a divine connection starts to happen when you're on your own. And when you do it, especially when you're in your car for a long period of time, when you're traveling, it's just a really good way of being able to get centered. And when you're centered and still, you can really get to know you better. The second way that I wanted to talk about getting to know you is no social media before 9 a.m. That is one of the last thing that I'm going to share with you that I've done, that I've really picked up on, and I love. and I think it's a fantastic way of being able to just set your day up right. And I'll talk about this in another episode about preparation, but no social media before 9 a.m. is a rule that I use daily in my routine, and it just helps me to stay focused on me, because I found that when I plan my days or what I wanted to do, I can get lost in social media and just end up just scrolling, and one thing leads to another, and you end up, all over the internet. And it's almost like you lose track of what you're trying to do, and you can lose track of what the flow that you're trying to get into, and you can't do that always when you're, scrolling. So I make sure that I use social media to be able to just get centered and understand me and understand what I'm doing, so that I can give my best when I'm in, a room full of people. Let's say I'm in a meeting or I'm delivering a training. So those are just a couple of ways. So no social media before 9 a.m. and I gave up music, listening to it in my car. And that's just my ways of doing it. I would love to hear your ways of being able to find out how you become more self-aware, the books you read, the conversations you have, who the people that you look to. So listening to others is a fantastic one as well. Taking the time just to get to know you is such a good tool, and I could talk about this a little bit more, but I wanted to wrap this one up. But it's a really, really good tool that you can use to get to know yourself. Let me know how you get on, and till next time, I'll see you.